Now, for many years, zero-day exploits had been scarce, rare, valuable, very costly for attackers to be able to research, to build exploits to use against organizations. And for many of us, the scarcity in the application of these zero-day exploits creates a profitable shield, where although everybody in the room knows about zero-day exploits and what the risk is, very few of us in our organizations will ever have to actually respond to and deal with those. But I think that's changing. And the reason it's changing is because of a concept of industrialization of exploit generation with AI. We're seeing some amazing work from Google, from Anthropic. Security researcher Sean Heelan's done some amazing work where we're finding vulnerabilities in source code, in commercial, in closed source products that had been reviewed many times over, but we're still finding new vulnerabilities. Measuring exploits in dollars like we have for many years, I think we need to start measuring exploits in how many tokens it requires for an AI model to find a previously unknown vulnerability and develop that exploit. Now, the development of these exploits is creating new opportunities for attackers as well. At the Uncrypted conference earlier this year, security researcher Nicholas Carlini said two things, but one really hit me hard. He said, future LLMs will likely be better than any of us at identifying vulnerabilities and at building exploits. I think we are quickly headed to a time period where we're going to see not one or two or maybe 3 0 days in a week, but a week of hundreds of zero-day exploits every week designed by AI, creating a lot more opportunity for adversaries to be able to use them in more interesting ways, in ways that are going to be a lot more impactful to a lot of more organizations. I don't think we're ready for this. I don't think that we are ready to defend against this coming onslaught of zero-day exploits. Now, it's hard to measure how organizations are actually patching these vulnerabilities and how long it takes them. I see mismatched guidance all over the place, but the common trend is this. Organizations are not measuring their patch cycle in a matter of hours or days. We are patching systems from zero-day announcements in a scope of weeks to months or even longer. And while attackers have always been faster than defenders, and we've always had to try to catch on to address new vulnerabilities, to patch systems, to keep securing perimeter and internal systems, I think that with this onslaught of vulnerabilities, this is not a tenable opportunity for us to continue managing. I think we're going to face a hard reality where we can't continue managing systems the way we are with an onslaught of vulnerabilities. I think what we need to do to try to address this problem is to accelerate every part of the patch management process, from procuring patches to testing patches to rolling out patches to validating patches. This is not just an enterprise problem. It is a vendor problem as well. And we all need to be participating in this and doing better to try to address this vulnerability. Finally, I think we need to integrate AI to help us resolve this patching dilemma and to be much faster about how we're rolling out patches. Now, I think 3, 5, maybe 7 years from now, we'll see a bright future where there will be much, much fewer vulnerabilities in software. That's fantastic. The dilemma we have is how do we survive the transition and to be able to get there. Now, the second topic that I want to talk about today is the supply chain issue, what I'm calling your vendor's vendor. Now, last year, we saw almost 500,000 new malicious packages show up for developers to be able to incorporate. We're seeing new malicious packages all the time. But the stat here that I really want to call your attention to is the one from Reversing Labs that said in 2026, 65% of organizations had a supply chain attack. This is a really interesting stat to me because it's easy to say supply chain is somebody else's problem. It's not. This is a significant problem that we are going to have to address as a community. To try to understand the scope of the problem, I took some software from Igor Havlok's 7-Zip. Heard of it, you probably use it, maybe it's in your gold image on systems you deploy, and I've started peeling back the layers on the 7-Zip onion. And what I quickly found out is not only is 7-Zip really complex software in a minimal installer, but it has 300 unique dependencies. The problem of supply chain threats is not the software we choose. It's the vendor's software and their vendor's software. It's the entire ecosystem of software supporting that threat. And an attacker can take advantage of any one of these software packages to try to attack and exploit systems. Now, I think we also are going to see a pairing of these different topics too. I think we're going to see AI exploits rapidly designed and generated and used for lots of different attack opportunities, but I think we're also going to see them delivered in a supply chain style of attack. Now, Alan Paller, who was the founder of the SANS Institute, in 2015, I heard him say something that has stuck with me for many years now. He said, if organized crime is not to happen, then they should be sued for malpractice. And it was kind of joke, it was kind of funny, but it really resonated with me. And I recall it today because I think we're in the same scenario. If adversaries are not looking at supply chain threats as an opportunity, then they're leaving a whole lot of opportunities to exploit systems on the table. It's too powerful, it's too big for adversaries to overlook. And it's something we're going to have to come up with a plan to try to address in our organizations. There's a couple of things that I think we can do here to try to address this more broadly. First, I think we really need to plan for supplier compromise. I think that with zero trust, one of the tenets is that we assume breach, we assume compromise for our systems to try to limit the blast radius when one system gets compromised. And we have to continue doing that and embracing it, not just from top-level exploits, but anything in the supply chain as well. Again, this is not just an enterprise problem, it's a vendor problem as well. And I think we need to have vendor at destination, where a vendor takes advantage of all this software, but they need to tell us that they've done their due diligence to be able to make it secure and to quickly address vulnerabilities when they are discovered. Finally, and I think maybe one of the most practical topics here, is that we need to focus on how we can limit blast radius following a compromise. Particularly for supply chain, we see lots of threats targeting credentials, targeting personal access tokens, API keys, and we need to limit what that risk and what that exposure is going to be for organizations. The supply chain threat is not just the software you choose, it's your vendor's vendor. And we need transparency and we need assurance for the software that we'll continue to deploy in our organizations. Thank you.